Good evening, all. I'm Rohit Raghavan, and I'm going to present you with the next set of puzzles which are to be solved, which are sent in the group and have been solved by the persons. But still, we are going to discuss all these puzzles, uh, you know, so as to derive and thinking of how to solve them effectively and quickly. Okay, so let's start with our first puzzle. This is the first position of 11-11, that is 11 November. Here it's black to move. If you see the position, this knight on b7 is attacking the queen on d8. Okay, and now rook c8 is also headed at some point. Also, queen c3, rook c8 might be the idea for white. So, with respect to pawns, the position is equal. The rook of black is slightly active, we can say, and the king on h2 seems pretty safe, and king on g8 also seems absolutely safe here. So what's the tactic that we have to apply here? Basically, i I see a anomaly here, which is the queen on e5, knight on f6, and king on h2. Now see, this pawn on h3 guards this g4 square. Okay, and this f2 is under pressure. So if it's white to move, then he could have played like king g1 or king g3 or queen f4, whatever suitable for them, or queen g3 for that matter. Whatever is suitable for them, they can try. But it's black to move, and black can just simply take this rook takes f2. That's one option. But it is not an attractive thing because you are giving up this rook file, and after that you are allowing rook d6 and rook d8 check, and then there might be a possibility of queen c3 and queen d3 check as well. Okay, so why do allow so much counterplay? So rook takes f2, even though looks like an attractive option, but actually it's not. Next up, can I really go to this knight on g4? I really want to give my knight. I want to play Tal chess. I want to play give up chess. Can I play knight g4? Turns out the answer is affirmative. It's a yes from the legend himself. The point is knight g4, h g4. If you take with the h pawn, this queen on d8 is steering this square on h4. Sorry for the arrow. This is actually staring down on h4 here. And if you take the h pawn, it's a check, right? Remember, we should not always cling on with our pieces every time. This is known as forking tactics. For example, if you don't take and come king g3, then I can take your queen, but you are forced to take, and thereafter I play queen h4, king g1, and thereafter rook d1 is a beautiful, beautiful checkmate. So that's one thing. So the answer is knight g4, h g4, queen h4, king g1, and rook d1, checkmate. That's the answer of first person. Let's move on to the second person. This is white to move and win here. Okay. Basically, here we see two or three things only. This rook on g8 is spinning this bishop on f8. Queen is having an attack on f7 rook, along with this b7, this thing, bishop as well. And white also has a bishop on g5, which is preventing the escape of king from e7 square. So what can we play? Yeah, we can see that this king can only go to d7 firstly. So only one square. So our thinking goes like something like rook takes f8, where if he goes king d7, then we have this queen takes f7. He has given up the bishop for free, he has given up the rook for free, and he is going to give up the queen as well. And this is a dead lost. And what happens if he plays rook f8? Rook takes f8, and thereafter king takes f8 is one option, and rook takes f8 is second option. If you play king takes f8, then I have queen h8, which is a checkmate. And if you play rook takes f8, then notice that this queen gets swing over to e7 with the protection of bishop to garner the checkmate on black king. So the answer of this puzzle is rook f8. And why and how had I taught rook f8? How had I thought rook f8? Because this I can see that this king cannot run because it will face a heavy material disadvantage. That's why. And also rook takes f8 forces black king to actually take the rook. Because if he goes king d7, then queen takes f7. Yes, all the properties are gone and it's completely like losing at this point of time. So that's one thing. So the answer of this puzzle is rook f8. Check. Okay. Let's move on to the next puzzle. This is the third puzzle and it's also white to move. At this point, basically, you generally have two answers here. Okay. One is, I mean, not two answers, but two conjunctures here. One is if you push this e6 pawn forward, then this rook on a6 will take the e6 pawn. That's one thing. And that is being done by the naive people. But herein, e6 is actually powerful because this bishop gets unleashed on this long diagonal. So that's why you can play rook takes g7, king takes g7, and followed by e6. Thereafter, king g8, and game becomes very very complicated. King g8, rook takes f7, and game actually becomes very very fighting and competitive. So, can we play here something like e6 directly? First of all, let's consider the alternatives before the correct move. Is rook f4 a possible move? Here attacking on f7? I don't think so. The reason is he can just play king g8 and thereafter if rook takes f7 comes, he can swing over to rook g6. Okay, so that's one thing. Rook g6 to protect this bishop, and that's one thing. The other thing is you cannot play a knight anywhere. It does not make any sense at all to move the knight at this point. So the only move other than rook takes g7 is this e6. Stunning pawn sacrifice, opening up entirely. I mean, e6 actually blocks this rook and wins the bishop for white. Okay, so e6 is a spectacular blow, and bishop takes c3 is actually the critical line here. And once you go bishop takes c3, then you can just pounce on with rook takes f7, check and check and mate. That's it. So e6, bishop takes c3, rook takes f7. This is one variation. And after e6, let's say we play something like rook takes e6. Then just one second, I will just clear it all for you. First move is e6, and let's say black goes rook takes e6. Then what can happen? Then basically, you are giving up your bishop for free with rook takes g7, or you can also give bishop takes g7 check. So that's the point. So the correct answer is e6 anything, and there will be checkmate loom on this checkmate looming on black king. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth puzzle. It's also white to move and win. And just to remind you, solve the daily puzzles one by one. At least solve one puzzle at a per day, and that will improve your cognitive ability to think fast. Okay, so now see the position very very carefully. I feel that this pawn on e7 is about to be promoted, and this king is on a backhand. So can we combine two of these powerful ideas into a good idea? Well, it turns out the answer is again affirmative because there is a queen, diagonal moving on to b7. And that queen b7, that deserves an exclamation mark, guys. Not one, but two. Yeah. Queen b7 is one of the stunning moves that you can ever see in your life. And what's the idea of queen b7? Basically, it wants to deflect the queen from this d7 square to b7 square so that the rook backed pawn can get promoted and announce a checkmate for the same. Now, queen b7 also comes with some ramifications like queen e8, where queen e8 actually blocks the e7. Then we have another stunning sacrifice here. Queen takes c8, check. Not check, sorry. I will just erase it for you. But it's not a check. Okay. Yeah. It's actually not a check. But queen b7, queen e8, and queen takes c8. Basically, you are taking the rook, and once the black queen retreats with taking the rook, you have e8 check, and queen takes c8, rook takes c8, check and mate. Okay. What I was referring was, if you play something like this here, if you play something like this here, then let's say he goes queen e8, then queen takes c8 is a brilliant move because queen takes c8, e8 equals to queen, e actually, queen takes c8 and then rook takes e8, check and mate. Okay, so here was the third puzzle. Queen b7 is the correct answer. Fourth puzzle, sorry. And the last puzzle is black to move and win. It's a very, very simple puzzle because the king on f1 is doing literally nothing, and you have only one good move here. I won't even take much of the time to, you know, tell this to you. So there, as I see, there is only one move here, one good move. This rook on f8 is actually controlling the f file. Sorry for the arrows. Rook on f8 directly controls the f5, and your supreme knight controls d4 and c3, and your defender knight controls e4 and d5, e4, d5, c4, g4, etc. These are the options. And basically, to combat everything that is being threatened by white, black can just simply give up the rook. Let me not take this as a slump. Rook takes c3. Now imagine the ramifications. Fg3 is not possible because pin, and de3 will be, you will not be basically giving up the exchange here because giving up the exchange will lead to, it's not even giving up an exchange, it's basically capturing a free knight because if he comes with d takes e3, remember this dark squared bishop is not developed, so we can just directly swing over to checkmate the white king instantly. Hence, we can conclude that everybody has their answers and everybody has the, what should I say, ability to find good moves, but it's tricky. And rook takes e3 actually was a bit simpler. We would like to enhance our levels a little bit on a day by day basis so that you could grow with us. You can solve puzzles, try to send answers, and then grow at your own pace. That's the mantra of Nilgiri Chess Club. I hope you enjoyed the same and have a good night. We'll see you next time. Thank you.